Next, an election to watch in India, a longtime U.S. ally and economic powerhouse and the world's largest democracy. Special correspondent Kira Kay has the story of a politician with a questionable past who many believe will become the country's next prime minister in 2014.
It's election season in the Indian state of Gujarat, and Narendra Modi, the current chief minister, is running for a fourth term. To these party faithful and to millions more Indians, Modi is a leader of integrity and skill. Many see in him a future prime minister. Around the city of Ahmedabad, you can see Modi's pursuit of a so-called vibrant Gujarat, with an emphasis on foreign investment and development of public infrastructure. There's a new IT hub under construction on the outskirts, and a major manufacturing park, including a Ford motor plant, just breaking ground.
People have more money, there's more business. The spending power of people has increased tremendously.
Zafar Sarajwala's BMW showroom is booming. He credits Gujarat's success to Modi's more everyday efforts, like a reliable power grid, a vibrant education sector, a new rapid transit bus system that is unclogging polluted city roads.
Now, all these things were there on the drawing board for at least 30, 40 years, but no government would implement. So Modi, what he did, he has delivered.
On the streets, Gujaratis from lawyers to plumbers see Modi as a hero.
He's given us water, roads, everything. That's why people love him. He does what he says. Also, there are no allegations of corruption against Modi.
But for all of Modi's popularity, he is also one of the most polarizing figures in India today, despised by many for a period of vicious communal violence that happened on his watch. It was in early 2002, in Muslim neighborhoods in Ahmedabad and all across Gujarat, that mobs of thousands of enraged Hindus exacted revenge on Muslims for the burning deaths of 58 Hindu religious pilgrims in a train car the day before. Shakila Bano and her family saw the mobs torching their mosque and tried to flee.
They threw petrol on the group and lit it on fire. My brother's head was severed with a sword. My 2-month-old nephew Nadim was burned in the fire. They also burned my mother alive.
The National Army was sent in, but only after the worst violence was over. More than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, were dead. Thousands more were displaced.
That time also,
Shamshad Pathan is a lawyer working on behalf of the victims.
Muslims thought this kind of violence was not possible without help from the government, that the day would come when Muslims would not be able to live in Ahmedabad anymore.
While India is a Hindu-majority country, it contains the world's largest Muslim minority, 177 million people. There has been a history of communal violence here, which has been exploited for political purposes, says the Imam of Ahmedabad Central Mosque.
There are many ways of stopping the violence. Programs to promote communal unity can be created. The problem is that if you make this your agenda, then you will not get elected.
It was in this climate that Narendra Modi emerged on the political scene, embracing religious ideology and rising through the ranks of a political party founded on Hindu nationalism. This religious orientation resonates, says social scientist Achyut Yagnik.
Hindu middle class in Gujarat, very powerful. They wanted a meaningful identity. And Hindu tradition, Hindu-ness, gave them that great identity.
That identity was exploited in the immediate aftermath of the 2002 train burning by Hindu groups aligned with Modi's political party, says human rights lawyer Mukul Sinha.
They know that one of the most emotive points for the Hindus would be if they see the manner in which the dead bodies were. They paraded the dead body in Ahmedabad and they held a funeral march. They had about 50,000 people.
Modi's government has maintained that the riots that followed were spontaneous and not premeditated by the state. But Achyut Yagnik says Modi's party seized the opportunity in elections held a few months later.
There was a political goal, no doubt about that. In order to unite Hindus, you have to create an enemy, or you have to create the other, quote unquote. And who were the other? The others were Muslim. After this carnage, they won.
Lawyer Mukul Sinha took up the cases of the riot victims, but had trouble getting them investigated by local authorities. One case suggested fuel taken from a police vehicle was used to burn victims.
There is evidence, there is eyewitnesses, but the case was closed. And I had to move the High Court even to get the police report filed after 4 months.
Activists that were working on these cases started receiving threatening phone calls. And it became more and more clear that witnesses were not feeling secure.
Meenakshi Ganguly is with Human Rights Watch. She says India's Supreme Court finally had to create an independent investigative body and special court process to try the resulting cases. Victims like Shakila Bano finally had their day in court.
I got a lot of threats to keep me from speaking out. They offered me money not to name names, but I didn't listen to them. I wanted justice for all the people I'd lost.
In the last 2 years, there have been 150 convictions, including Maya Kudnani, who in 2002 was a parliamentarian for Modi's party, and since the violence was made a minister in his government.
Those phone calls were received in the area called Naroda, where exactly the violence had taken place.
Mukul Sinha's office spent more than a year crunching phone records that were used to convict Kudnani and others. He says they also show calls to Modi's office, but without eyewitnesses to corroborate them, they won't become evidence. Meenakshi Ganguly says that even without criminal liability, the buck stops with Modi.
We know for a fact that police refuse to protect Muslims. So we know that under his administration, the rule of law collapsed. We also know that he has never found it in himself to express any kind of sadness for the fact that so many people lost their lives.
But still, some Muslims in Gujarat have chosen to re-engage. Zafar Sarashwala, the businessman, is Muslim. His family and business suffered in 2002, and he filed a human rights case against Modi, but had a change of heart.
Gujarat has 7.5 million Muslims. Muslims cannot remain in isolation with the administration. We need to sit down and talk.
He began a collaboration with Modi.
A lot of issues have been raised with Mr. Modi. Muslim schools, hospitals, Muslims in jail.
But the feeling is different in ghettos like Citizen Nagar, where Muslims displaced by the violence still live in temporary housing in the shadow of a garbage dump.
He's making vibrant Gujarat, but there's no school here, no hospitals. The roads are bad.
You may have seen progress in certain areas in the city, in the Hindu area. We get no aid from the Modi government. He says we're living well here. Does it look like we live well here?
I think it reflects something of India today, because Chief Minister Modi has many good qualities, like he is a good, he's supposed to be a very good administrator, that his state runs very efficiently. Those are good things. If he's going to be a leader like that, it will be a good thing. If, on the other hand, he's a leader that creates communal hate, that fails to protect a certain community, that will be unfortunate for an India that wants to be recognized and be given a place in the world as an emerging power.
Modi, who declined our multiple requests for an interview, was denied a visa to the United States in 2005 due to religious freedom concerns. 25 members of the U.S. Congress are now urging Secretary of State Clinton to keep the ban in place. Narendra Modi will not need the votes of Muslim citizens to win this week. But his future on India's stage, with national elections coming in 2014, remains in question, as the specter of the 2002 violence continues to follow him.
Election results will be announced on Thursday. Kira's story is part of a series, Fault Lines of Faith, produced in partnership with the Bureau for International Reporting. Online, you can also find the latest report from the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life, showing the religious makeup of the world by country and region.